Carlos Ramirez, owner of NVS Audio in Roselle, New Jersey. So, the long-awaited Ground Zero Yellow Basket Weatherproof Coax 6-9 is here. The Gzcf69spl. We've been waiting on this speaker for over a year. So this speaker is the big brother to the wildly popular Ground Zero Yellow Basket Coax, Gzcf 6.5 SPL. We knew this speaker was going to be great because this speaker is great. It's entry-level price point, so $350. Weather-resistant, dust boot on both. Rubber dust boot keeps water from getting into the voice coil. Weather-treated cone. They're ferrite magnet. That's what makes them affordable. Anything Neo is going to be in the $500, $600, $700, $800 a pair price range. There's very few changes, so I was looking over the manual carefully. So we've been waiting on these speakers for over a year. They released the 8-inch first, and then I get it, makes more sense. The tooling for a 6 and an 8 is very similar, so it takes a little bit longer to retool for a 6x9. It's just common sense. They made a few very small changes, but I knew it was going to be good because the 6.5 was good. So it's basically the 6.5's bigger brother. It's a bigger version of the 6.5, and it's almost identical to the 8-inch. So after the success of the Yellow Basket 6.5, it was a no-brainer that they released the 6x9. We've been waiting for it. We've been asking for it, and they finally released it. So here in our shop, this speaker is going to replace this speaker. This is the 7x10. And then later on in the video, I'll explain why I don't like it. But the speaker's very loud, works very well in a car. I don't like it for a motorcycle because A, it's not weatherproof, but I understand it. We had the same issue with the Hertz Melee Pro 6x9, very popular 6x9. We sold a lot of them. What people have to realize is the motorcycle audio market, a high-powered one that we're in right now, is very new. So 50 and 100 watt speakers, not even 100 watt, 50 and 75 watt speakers from other companies were the norm. They take a $10 or $20 speaker, they weatherproof it, and it becomes a motorcycle speaker. So that was all that we had, and running 50, 75 watt per channel amplifiers. The speaker didn't need to be big, didn't have to have a big voice coil. They weatherproofed it a little bit and shipped it out of the door. So to make it cost effective, because you got to remember, the motorcycle audio part is huge to us. It is not huge around the country and is a very small part of the audio market. So they pay attention to cars, trucks, they pay attention to boats. They really don't pay attention to motorcycle. But as the motorcycle thing continues to grow at the rate that it's growing, they're forced to pay attention to us. So we find whatever we can find. So we're using pro audio speakers, and we're weatherproofing the cone with Never Wet, and we're applying fabric, doing what we can do to get a speaker that plays loud, and then we're trying not to get destroyed by the water. So a lot of these companies choose their low-end speaker and weatherproof it, because when you take a speaker that's already $1,000 and weatherproof it, that's a very small market. Like, a lot of my clients will spend thousands of dollars on speakers, but most won't. Like, if you really pay attention to the market, most people are just happy with the boom audio. The ones that don't get the boom audio from factory are happy with a small upgrade like the Rockford kit. And then before you talk crap about the Rockford kit, you got to remember, with boom audio, factory service, factory fit and finish, plug and play, factory warranty, you put it in, it's installed right, doesn't fail. With the Rockford kit, you have the same thing. It's plug and play. Everything's included. It's warrantyable. They're not hacking up the bike. When you start buying a custom kit, you have to worry about whether it's going to be installed right and whether the components work together, and are my harnesses going to be cut. So there's a lot of people that talk crap about Rockford Fosgate, but you got to remember, if you're buying a Rockford Fosgate kit, you're buying Rockford. It might not be the loudest thing, but it's something that if it's not overdriven, it's going to last for years. You're not going to win any contest with it, but it's just as reliable as the factory Harley-Davidson boom audio stuff. So us that like to go more extreme, you've never ever heard me talk crap about Rockford. They make a quality product. My issue with them is it's one size fits all. We get a 400 watt amp. whether we're running 2 speakers, 4 speakers, 6 speakers, or 8 speakers. So the Rockford stuff's not loud, but you can't say that it breaks. Like if you put the Rockford stuff in and don't try and get 600 watts out of the 400 watt amplifier, the stuff lasts and it works, and there's no leaks in the bags, and it's factory fit and finished. So now we have companies like Ground Zero that are paying attention to the motorcycle market and giving us a premium speaker, a good speaker set, and weatherproofing it. So that's how we end up with the Hertz did it with the SPL show line, and Ground Zero is doing it with their competition line. So it's great that they did it. It's great that they're paying attention to the market. Us as a company is doing really well with it, and they listen. They have guys like me and Dorian and Tommy on the team, and Andy. So they listen to what we're doing, and they're able to adapt quickly, which works out good for us. And I don't want to say bigger company, because Ground Zero is a huge company in Europe. They're small in the United States, but in Europe they are huge. But when you have a big company like Kicker or Hertz, or they're slower to adapt because there's a lot of moving parts in that machine, and then all the messages have to go through all the channels. So I'm happy. We talk, they listen. This you have, because if you know us here at the shop, we don't stick to one brand on everything. We go to what works the best. So now we finally have a good combination from the same company where we can do fairing and lid. So I'm happy. These perform well. They're really good. Then the 7x10 was a speaker that was for a car. It was never intended to go on a motorcycle. We put it on a motorcycle because it's really loud and it has really good mid bass. But you got to cut and grind a bunch of stuff to make it fit. Here at MVS Audio, we're not big on cutting and grinding unless we have to. Every time I've installed a set of 7x10, I felt guilty because I'm cutting on a pair of speakers that haven't even played a note yet. So you end up cutting off the flange and grinding the lid kit. So, see? Just to make it fit, where now we have a solution that just fits. It's not my preference. This is not the way I like to do it. Plus, yeah, this is the solution for us. Everybody has their own opinion. This is my opinion. I just feel, and they're about the same price, so this is what I'm going with. No more cutting. Both speakers have similar performance. Of course, the 7x10 has really good mid bass. It's physically an inch wider and an inch taller. But this one keeps right up with it, both on equal power, no modifications. So that's it. I'm going to keep this video short because it's everything that the 6.5 does. This one does, just louder because it's got a bigger cone. I'm going to show you it installed inside a set of saddlebags, so you can see how we fit it inside. We've tested it in the Boss lid kit, we've tested it in the Rockford lid kit, we tested it in the Diamond Audio lid kit, and we tested it in the Kicker lid kit. Fits perfect in all of them without cutting or grinding. Little gasket tape along the edge to make it waterproof. Screw it in, you're good to go. No cutting. It does need a 1/2-inch spacer though. So we like using, you can use whatever spacer you want. We use the Diamond Audio ones. I'm sorry, we use the American Hardbag ones. The American Hardbag 1/2-inch spacers work beautifully, and it puts these 6x9s in every single lid kit without an issue. Let me grab the Diamond Audio lid kit, because I think that's the only lid kit that I fit without a spacer. Okay, while I was back there grabbing the Diamond Audio lid kit, I remembered that Paul from 702 Motoring sent me over his lid kit too. Paul told me that his lid kit, which by the way is the only lid kit available on the market that you can buy without the speakers. And then I was saying how the Boss and the Rockford kits are all the same. He asked me to look at his kit closely and inspect the tolerances, and he's right. This kit fits just a little bit better than every other kit on the market that we've used. But in order to run the larger 6x9s, it will need a 1/2-inch spacer like all the other ones. But if you're on the market for a lid cutting kit without buying the speakers and you want something that's really good quality, 702 Motoring. Lid cutting kit, the tolerances are excellent. I like the They went with a flat finish on the trim instead of that textured. I like that a lot. And if you're going to paint them, it's going to make it a lot easier for the body shop because they don't have to fight with the texture. Very nice smooth finish on that. But you will need a 1/2-inch spacer to run these 6 mines in the 702 motoring kit. But on the Diamond Audio lid kit. So Diamond Audio offers a lid kit. Currently, they're not selling the lid kit by itself. Very smart of them. Part number on the Diamond Audio lid kit is MS14LK. So obviously, LK stands for lid kit. 14 stands for 2014 through 2022. So they did theirs completely different. I'm telling you right now, and then I'm going to do a separate review just on the lid kit. This is the best cutting kit I've ever put my hands on. And Paul told me that I was going to be impressed, and he was right. So shout out to Paul from 702 Motoring. He told me that these are different, and he's 100% right. The first thing I notice is the problem with the Boss and the Rockford kit. If you use the wrong screw or over tighten or don't cut the cutting kit properly and try and force the screw, it ends up cracking the plastic. Well, Diamond Audio did machine brass inserts. I don't know if you could see them, but it's machine screws. So the insert is impregnated in the plastic, and then if you don't line it up properly, the screw's not going to go in. And then once the screw does go in, there is no chance that you're cracking the plastic because it's not a drywall screw going through plastic. It's a machine screw going into a threaded brass insert. Then the inside of the kit is deeper and there's more open area. So since they made this part deeper, if you notice, this part's completely different. So since they made this part flat and deeper, the 6 mine fits with no adapter. It is a perfect fit. Look at that. And then since Diamond Audio's offers 3 or 4 different 6 mines, they make an adapter. So in case it doesn't line up with the holes, they make an adapter that bolts in and then aligns perfectly with whatever series 6 mine they shipped you. Excellent job. I know they spent a ton of money on this and it shows. Look at the way that thing goes together. Nice. But as of right now, you cannot get the lid kits separately. I had to buy these as a package with the MP694s. But smart move by Diamond Audio. Why give it away if you currently have the best product on the market? Force people to buy your speakers. Very nice job. So back to this. Excellent 6 mine. I love it. I ordered a ton of them because I knew they were going to perform. I normally wait until I review the speaker to place my order. I ordered it immediately because I knew what it was going to be. They didn't send me, they normally send me a prototype a few months before the speaker ships. I didn't get a prototype this time around. They just put the speaker into production, and I completely understand because it was no brainer. I literally placed my order and I took one of these speakers out of my order to test it, and it did everything I knew it would do. So 2 thumbs up. Love it. I have a ton of them in stock. We're going to start using them on our builds. And that's it. Hope this helps. Listen how the speaker plays. yes, that's a pretty nice flat frequency response. We have no EQ applied in the DSP at all. No EQ at all. And it's playing pretty flat. It's playing down to 80 hertz, no problem. I'm a little disappointed. I'd like to see it play a little bit lower, but mid bass is excellent. I expected to play lower than 6.5, but it doesn't. But you have to remember the 6.5 plays extremely low for a 6.5. But this paired with a set of yellow bass with 6.5, the bike will be a mid bass monster 4-speaker bike, factory look, factory fit and finish. Really not surprised. They basically took their widely successful 6.5 and copied it and gave it a bigger cone. I was looking over it. It's got the same frequency response, same tweeter. They changed the crossover on the tweeter, and I think it's because they were having issues in certain cases with the sound digital amps. It was causing a skipping because of the 12 decibel per octave crossover. The inductor coil was causing an issue in very few cases, but the problem was there. So they went to a standard 6 decibel per octave and got rid of the coil. So now it's guaranteed not to have an issue because the inductor is not there. But it's a little less protection for the tweeter, but let's see what happens. Now, both speakers have a 1.5-inch voice coil. 1.5 is big for a 6.5. It's standard for a 6x9. But they list the power of this speaker at 100 watts RMS, and they list the power of that speaker at 150 watts RMS. I'm going to assume that's some marketing trickery because RMS power handling is determined by the voice coil size, and being that these speakers are made by the same company, have the same exact voice coil, I'm assuming they underrated the 6.5 and rated the 6x9 properly. So, 150 watts RMS on each one of these, and then we have it hooked up to a Sound Digital evox 800.4 bridged, so we're getting just under 400 watts. Same thing we tested the 6.5 on, and the speaker performs exactly like the 6.5 performs, which isn't strange considering they both have the same voice coil. So it's basically a bigger 6.5. It's a 6.5 with a 6x9 cone, so of course it's going to be louder. Really happy with the speaker, really happy with the way it performs. Let's play some music. speaker wants to vibrate off the stand. This thing has a ton of mid bass. It sounds really good. We have energy on the screen down to 63 hertz. We have the high pass filter applied at 50 hertz. As you can see, the speaker's not struggling at all. Great job, Ground Zero, on the speaker. There's a whole bunch of reasons why I like this speaker. And I'm glad they pushed it out as quickly as they did. Since it wasn't a lot of tooling, because they basically copied the 6.5 and the 8, I'm sure they could have had it out quicker, but I see they spent some time on the design of the speaker. So being that the speaker has a pretty good amount of X-Max, so they added a generous 1/4-inch spacer. So in many applications, especially in a car and a rear deck, you don't have to worry about the cone of the speaker hitting the rear deck. And if you notice, the tweeter does not protrude over the top. Very important when doing lid mounting. The spacer was not large enough to allow it to go inside a Harley-Davidson lid without the additional spacer, because we verified that it requires a 1/2-inch spacer to clear, and this is a 1/4-inch spacer. So we have it installed here in our test saddlebag to show you. But they did a great job with the speaker. And the spacer is removable. If you don't need it all, you just take it off. But let me show you what we got going on. Here's our saddlebag from the showroom. We have the 8-inch installed back there. And there's the Ground Zero, perfectly mounted. This is the Boss lid kit, which is exactly the same as the Rockford lid kit. So there's our 1/2-inch spacer right there. As you can see, all 4 screws line up. You can't see any gap. There's no visible light coming in. And we have the gasket installed, so there's no water going to get into this bag at all. Most importantly, problem with a lot of the large magnet 6.9s on the market is when you go to close the bag, it hits right here. Notice it is not cut. It is not cut. There is no grinding. This lid closes perfectly. So this speaker is literally perfect for this application. No grinding, no cutting. Run a 1/2-inch spacer and you're good to go. Now, if you don't want to run the 1/2-inch spacer, you could grind like I've shown in my previous videos, but I don't like grinding. If I can make something fit without chopping it up, that's the way I'm going to do it. Completely stock look. I love it. So this is a speaker I've never been a fan of. This is the wildly popular 7x10 Yellow Basket by Ground Zero. The reason I don't like this speaker is in order to get it to fit, you got to modify it. See how we've cut it? I said it before, I don't like modifying if there's an option. I understand we've been forced to use this. As you can see, the cover on the magnet's been taken off because it hits when you open and close the lid. Then, even if you run a spacer, it's not a 6.9, it's 7x10. So as you can see, the spacer sits right on the surround. Sits right on the speaker. So then you have to build custom built spacers, and there's a lot of grinding and cutting. These things just don't fit right. And on top of that, they're not weatherproof. Water gets right in the voice coil, right there. So this was a necessary evil. It's just like the Malay Pro 6x9. We used to use it a lot because it's the only thing we had. But as soon as Hertz came out with the SPL Show Neo, that was the proper speaker for the application, we stopped using Malay Pro. Same thing with the 7x10. 7x10 was never, I just never felt good about doing this. You're voiding the warranty on the speaker before you even start the install. and then it doesn't fit right because lids are set up for 6x, not 7x10s. So you have to do a lot of grinding and cutting to get this thing to even come close to lining up. And after you grind it, still, you're gonna hit the surround somewhere. It's sitting right on the surround right there. So you have to build a giant custom spacer, and then in order to get that to work, you have to cut this basically flat. And it's just, I'm so glad this one came out. That way you don't have to do this anymore. Some shops choose to use it. I just think this is a better solution. Weatherproof, same size voice coil, same power handling, not weatherproof, fit, no chopping or cutting, chopping and cutting. I think this is just a better choice. And they're priced almost the same. This one's $330 a pair. That one's $350 a pair. So $20 more to do it the right way, in my opinion. It's just, I'm sorry, this makes sense for me at my shop. That doesn't make sense. This makes perfect sense to me. See how beautiful that is?